Hi everybody, it's me. Welcome back to another episode of Family Talks. And you're here with just Mama Ta. There's no Anaya and Elijah today. We had actually scheduled something, but they were on spring break and they decided yeah, we could do it, but last minute we didn't do it. So I'm actually here today to talk to the parents. I want to have a little rant. I got a few questions that people have asked, so I'm going to try to answer as many as I can. If you guys have any more questions or any show ideas, you can actually email at familytiespodcast@gmail.com. You can also leave comments and questions on the Family Ties Instagram, which is Family Ties Podcast on Instagram, right? Let's get into it. Hi guys. Normally no one sees me without my kids unless I'm going to work. Anaya and Elijah are everything. They're my everything. They get on my nerves now that they're older, but they are my everything. So I have two questions that I'm going to answer today. So the first one was I ready to be a parent? And my family's reaction, right? My family and their dad's family's reaction. So I actually have three, because one more is, did I regret having them? So let's put this into perspective. When I had Anaya, I was 23. I had just graduated college. I believe I was 23. Listen, y'all, I'm up there, right? So I don't remember, but I was 23. I honestly thought that I was ready to be a mom. I'm gonna tell you why. Because honestly, in my opinion, no one's really fully ready to be a parent. I don't believe that they are, unless you're rich, and even rich people aren't fully ready to have kids, because I just feel like if it's not financial, then it's emotional. And if you're not there financially but you can be there emotionally, then that's good. If you can't be there emotionally and you're there financially, that's good, because you can buy somebody that can be there for your kids emotionally, if that makes sense. But I'm saying, like, I have these thoughts in my head, and I feel like when I portray them, like they're, getting to the point. But if they're not, like I said, you can always send me a message like, hey, what the hell were you talking about, and what did you mean? And so I feel personally that it doesn't matter if you're nobody is really ready. Like, that's just me. Like, I feel like nobody's really ready. My parents, so I have three parents, right? I have my mother, I have my biological father, and I have my dad, who's my stepfather. They were all in the picture at the time, and the only person I was happy for me was my biological father. That's the only person I was happy for me. After a while, everybody said that they warmed up and it was okay and it was all good, but the initial reaction is what I took, and it actually made me a little bitter. It made me very sad. It just wasn't a good feeling. It wasn't a good fit. So my mom, Anaya and Elijah's father and I, his name is Leo, or Mr. Banks, right? We sat down, and the first people we told was my parents. And when we told my parents, the first person who said something, he got up. My dad, he got up, which is my dad's my stepfather. He got up and he said, well, I don't think you're ready. and he just walked out the room, right? We went in the living room and he just walked out the room. Now mind you, y'all, I'm telling him and I'm excited, like I'm smiling and I'm like, yeah, I just found out we're gonna have a baby, blah blah blah, and I'm excited. He was like, I don't think you're ready, and he walked out the room. My mother was like, well, you just graduated like 3 months ago with your bachelor's. I thought you were going back for your master's next semester. So how are you planning on doing that? And I just looked at her and I said, well, mommy, this is not the end of the world. Like, I can do it. She was like, well, I agree with Chunky. Chunky is my dad. That's what we call him, Chunky. Because we couldn't call him his name. So when we met him, we were like 2 and 3. And we had to come up with a name. Chunky was the name. So she was like, I agree with Chunky. You're not ready. But, you know, I'll be here if you need me, blah, blah, blah. But by now, I'm like, dang, like, so I gotta raise this baby by myself. Now, mind you, I'm 23. My mom had me when she was 20. My dad, he had my little brother. They had my little brother. My mom and my dad had my little brother. But when they had my little brother, they were 40. So it was like, you know, he was old enough, but it didn't matter, right? It didn't matter. Nobody was there for me emotionally. My parents. I have a brother. His name is Tyrone. Tyrone was there. He was like, don't worry about it, Taisha. We gonna get through this. Like, that's what's up, yo. Like, no matter what, you know, I got you. So my older brother, he was down from day one. And we're only 11 months apart. So we're Irish twins. So it was like, I already knew, like, if nobody wasn't there for me, it would be my brother. So now we go and we tell Leo's mom. His mom is on the same trip as my mom. Like, oh, you don't have your master's. How you gonna have a kid? Blah, 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 blah. And the whole time I'm like, what's wrong with these women? Like, I got my bachelor's, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be a bum. I'm gonna make sure I take care of my child, and I don't need them for anything. I'm just telling them so that, you know, everybody is happy, everybody's joyous. That was a fail, right? A fail, a dub. They were not happy, and it just came back to, I thought you were going to get your master's, and it's like, this is not the end of the world. I said I'm having a baby. I didn't say that, you know, I'm never going back to get my master's. I never did, guys. I didn't. I wound up getting a great job, so I really didn't need my master's. I am going to go back. I'm thinking real soon, but I guess that'll come soon. But I am going to get my master's still. I did get my bachelor's in communications, and my minor was communication disorders. I'm really into communication disorders, so that's where I want to get my master's in. But anyway, everybody was on some ish. So now I'm like, dang. Now I got to go tell daddy. That's my biological father. I'm like, well, let me go tell daddy. So I go and I tell my father, and my father was happy. He was ecstatic. Like, I'm about to have a grandchild. Like, he was ecstatic. In my life, my father didn't do a lot in my life. He didn't. He was not there for me. He was not there for my brother. My father only has 2 kids, Tyrone and Taisha. He didn't do much for us growing up. But that moment right there, that moment made me forget about everything, because the world was against me at that time, and my father was there. It was as if he knew that I needed someone, you know, and he didn't judge me. He didn't ask 50 million questions like, oh, are you guys going to get married? And blah, blah, blah. He didn't ask any of that. My father just was like, all right, well, you need the help, I'm here. Now, I didn't believe that, because he wasn't there for us financially. So I'm like, okay, I guess, well, if if I need help, he's here, like, emotionally, but financially, that's just not what he's there for. But it was okay. I didn't need any financial help. I didn't need any of that. I just needed someone to be in my corner. And I had my older brother, like I said, but my older brother, he had his own life. He was doing his own thing. But I needed my parents, around to say, we love you. This is not the end of the world, and you're going to be okay. I didn't get that. Like, I didn't get that from my family, and he didn't get that from he didn't get it from his mom. I don't know about the rest of his family, but he didn't get it from his mom. His grandmother, she was like, okay, his grandmother, she was pretty cool. But our parents, no, they weren't with it. And you would think that we were just bums, like, just didn't do anything. I didn't do anything at that time. I had just graduated from college, so I just came back home. I had went to SUNY Plattsburgh, and I had just came back home. So I wasn't doing anything. I won't even lie to you guys and tell you I was, because I wasn't doing anything. But when I found out that I was pregnant, I went to this temp agency called Kelly Services. If anybody remembers Kelly Services, I went to a temp agency called Kelly Services, and I was trying to keep a job. It wasn't working. I spent most of my days in the bathroom just throwing up. So when I was pregnant with Anaya, my first trimester, I lost 15 pounds. My second trimester, I lost 10. And then after that, it's the third trimester, and, I gained that weight plus. But I wasn't no big hubba bubba, but I was bigger than, I normally was. But I gained all that weight, and I came out nice and healthy, and I was ecstatic. Like, this is my baby, My brother, Tyrone, and my biological father, they came to the hospital, and they made sure that she got home. It was the best thing ever. But before that, it was like, whenever I listen to that song by Lauryn Hill called Zion, I cry every time. I don't know if y'all can see, I'm tearing up. I'm about to cry right now. I cry every time, because it was like everybody just kept saying, like, oh, you're not ready, think about your future, think about this, think about that. And my mom's thing was, you're so selfish, you only care about yourself, you don't care about a child, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yo, this lady's freaking crazy. Like, if I have a baby, like, that's the only person that I really care about is my baby. So let me go back a little bit. I wound up getting a job when I was like 5 months pregnant. I still wasn't showing. Like I said, I had thrown up so much, I wasn't showing. I got a job with FedEx. I didn't tell them I was pregnant until I started showing, which wasn't until like 7 months. I told them, like, yo, I'm pregnant. So what they did was they took me and they put me in a different station. And in this station, I'm working with my older brother, Tyrone. It was like the funniest thing, but it was so cool. So I was working with him, and he had 2 jobs. So he would work in the morning as a mechanic, and then he would go to FedEx at night. So what happened was, at night, we would alternate nights, right? So one night he would bring snacks, the next night I would bring snacks, and we would go on like that. And it was just so cool, like, just working with my brother. He just was there. Like, I knew I wasn't traveling home by myself. My brother was there. And now Leo, he was working at FedEx too, but he was working at a different hub. So all right, whatever, we would try to meet every now and then, but our relationship was just so rocky at that time. It was like, it just was different, and I didn't understand why. But my man, I'm having your baby, like a whole baby. But it was what it was. Like, it was alright. I won't even tell y'all why it was alright, but it was all right, you know. So anyway, now, like I said, I got a job when I was 5 months pregnant with Anaya. We were living at my mom's house, me and my brother. When I say we, I'm talking about me and my brother. And Leo was living across the way at his mother's house. So it was like we were this far apart. Like, and I literally mean this far apart. It was like a walkway that separated me from Leo. So he could see when I got in the house. He could see if I was in my kitchen, if my mom's blinds were open, all of that. But we were that close, right? Well, in proximity. So now we're gonna fast forward to me having Anaya. Although Leo and I were not together at the time, it was great. I had my baby, and I tell people this all the time. If you're stuck on a dude when you have that baby, you don't even care about him no more. Now you just care about your baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're stuck on him and he's not stuck on you, by the time you drop that baby, your whole mindset, and I feel like if you're wired correctly, your whole mindset is just on your baby. You don't even care about dude anymore. It's like, whatever, let me worry about this baby. And if you're not on the same type of time I'm on, who cares? This baby is here. This is a baby that I made. We made it together, but this is my baby. You know, the thing about that though is I never ever kept Anaya from her father. Like, we weren't together, but it was cool. I never kept her from her father. And we actually weren't together for a while. And while we weren't together, you know, he dated whoever he dated. I dated whoever I dated. He was good just dating whoever he was dating, as long as it was just him dating. Then he found out, I don't know how, but he found out I was talking to somebody. And what happened was, one day, what I did was I purposely got dressed, and I was like, all right, come downstairs, I'm gonna give you Anaya. So he comes downstairs, I give him Anaya, and I run. Like, I literally ran, y'all. I ran because I knew he was gonna try something slick, but I knew he wouldn't try it with Anaya in his hand. So what he did was he ran upstairs, and then he ran back downstairs. He thought that he would see me, but he didn't see me. So he ran to the gate. He said he saw the back of the car that I left in. I don't know if that's true. I don't even care to know if it's true. All I know is that was like that was like 15 years ago, because Anaya's going to be 16. So it was like 15 years ago. It didn't matter to me. I didn't care. I was like, oh, whatever. Like, he can live his life. I'm going to live my life. I have my baby. I'm not horrible. I'm not ugly. And I'm okay. But it was just like that. Me going out with somebody else and me dealing with somebody else, that was just to that was just for me to, y'all know what I'm trying to say, like, that was just for me to get my mind off of everything else. That was, I forget the word right now, but anyway, that was that's what it was. It was to get my mind off of everything. And I wound up really liking the person wound up really liking me. But what happened was, Leo and I decided to give this another chance, and mainly because we had to, because my mom decided to kick me and my older brother out the house. And when she did that, I had to move. I had to go somewhere with my baby. And Leo wound up, his cousin wound up buying a house. So we lived on the first floor of the house. His aunt lived on the second floor. His cousin lived on the third floor. That was the worst thing that I ever did in my life. I will never do it again. When you know people don't like you, you shouldn't even be a part of anything. And I'm going to say this out loud. I don't care who gets offended. When people do not like you, you should stay away. It's hard, but you have to stay away, because people will like you enough to take your money, but when things get awry, people will like you enough to want to kick you out with your kids, even if you're paying your money. So it was like, I'll tell you guys in a little while. So now we move. Anaya turns 1 the month after we move. Well, the month that we moved, Anaya turns 1. And things are still rocky, right? So now we move into some place and we're not even fully together, right? But we have this child, so we're trying to do the right thing as we think it is in society, for us, for her. We try to do the right thing by staying together and trying to be together. Now, before I moved out, I told my mom, I'm not ready to move out with this man. Like, we're not even compatible, I don't believe, and I'm not ready to move out. My mother's like, I don't care. I see you guys talking every day. That is the father of your daughter, so you guys have to figure it out. So we tried. We tried, but he didn't know me. I didn't know him. Now, mind you, we were together at that point for 3 years. And it wasn't that we didn't know each other, but we didn't know each other, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't know his habits of just not wanting to talk when he didn't want to talk, or wanting to do his own thing when he wanted to do his own thing. Like, everything just to me was just different. You know, he didn't know that when I shut down, I just shut down. Don't talk to me. Don't say nothing to me. He didn't know that when I'm on my shit, I'm on my shit. So don't say nothing, because payback is a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't know that. So you put that in a household together and it makes for disaster. But guess what, y'all? Before disaster could strike, here I find out Elijah's coming. Anaya and Elijah are 18 months apart. So like I said, Anaya had just turned 1. Find out pregnant with baby number 2. So I'm like, oh my goodness, what I'm going to do. So at this time, I still have my father. My brother comes over every single day. He was stressed out. I was stressed out. He was depressed. I was depressed. It was like, for us, it was like we were the 2 kids that got kicked out, and we got kicked out for no reason. Like, I'm just gonna put it out there. We got kicked out for no reason, but there was a reason given that didn't make sense. That to this day, and I'm telling you, that was 15 years ago. To this day, we're still on some, what the heck happened and how did that happen? But we got through it together. You know what I'm saying? But imagine that. As a woman, you have your firstborn, you know, you may go through postpartum depression. I didn't think I was going through postpartum depression. I just thought that I was depressed and very stressed at that time. Now I found out I'm about to have another baby, so now I'm going through the cycle all over again, and I'm just on some, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to cope. I don't know how I'm going to deal. I don't know anything at this point. So I got depression on top of stress, on top of depression, on top of more stress, on top of regular, like, everyday life. But I made it. I made sure that I did everything that I needed to do. Now Elijah comes. So now I have Anaya and Elijah. And I'm going to tell you guys, like, I fully enjoy them being little. Anaya thought that she was Elijah's mom. So Anaya would do any and everything that she had to do. She knew, like, Anaya watched me and what I did with Elijah. So she would too do it for me if I couldn't. Like, Anaya, come over here and give your brother a bottle. She would come and she would just hold the bottle, you know, hold the bottle for him. And then after a while, he held the bottle for himself. And if the bottle fell, she would just pick it up, rinse it off, give it back to him. Growing up, they were just so close. They didn't have a choice. It was just us 3, you know. So she didn't really have a choice. They saw their father every single day, because he wound up moving out of our apartment. Elijah was 1, Anaya was 2 going on 3. He winds up moving out because it was very toxic in our household. And that's another thing. So many relationships go on these days and they're toxic and people don't know how to break it off. I didn't know how to break it off, but he did. He just left. He was able to go back to his parents' house, well, his mom's house. I wasn't. My mother had already kicked me out of there, so I knew I couldn't go back. So I still saw him every single day. He would come, and I would know when he was coming. He would tell me, like, all right, Taisha, I'll be there in 5 minutes. When I would hear the door open or I would see him walk past the window, I would tell the kids, all right, your dad's coming inside. And, I would go into the kitchen, make any type of food that I needed to make, or, get my food together. And as soon as I would hear him unlocking the door, I would just go in my room, close the door, let him enjoy his time. Before he left, he would knock on the door, tell me time leaving, and he would leave. So at that time, a lot of people kept asking me, well, why does he still have keys to the apartment? And I'm like, well, this is how I think. Everybody else doesn't think like this, but this is how I think. My apartment is not my apartment. The only reason why it has my name on it is because Anaya and Elijah are not old enough to put their name on the lease. So this is their apartment. This is their safe haven. So no dude ever knew where I lived. I never brought a dude to the crib. That just wasn't me. It wasn't something that I did. But he still had a key because his kids lived there. I never kept Anaya and Elijah away from him. I would never keep Anaya and Elijah away from him. That's just something that I wouldn't do. So he would come in. He would, hang out with them an hour or 2. It was cool. Like, I'm going to sleep. I'm doing other type of work. Whatever I needed to do, I was doing at that time. I would leave, come back, or he would leave with them, bring them back. Different things like that. But during that year, it was a whole year that he didn't live with us. During that year, I got to know me. He got to know him, and we coexisted. We co-parented, and it was cool. So a year later, he comes back and he asked me to marry him. I say sure. And we got married in 2010. And it was pretty cool. Like, it was what it was. We was going to just go to City Hall, but my mother, she wanted me to have a big old wedding because I'm her only daughter. So I had a big old wedding. I can say that was one of the best days of my life. Besides having Anaya and Elijah, that was like the best day of my life. It was the best. So one of the best days of my life. So yeah, that is what was going on here and there, right? So the next question is, how did I feel? I'm not sure if you mean how did I feel as a parent, like going through all of that. I didn't regret one moment of it. It only made me stronger. I didn't want to go through it. People don't know a person's mind. You don't know a person's psyche and how they deal with certain things. So you might think like, oh, they'll be all right. They're strong. They're tough. And they may not. So I just think that when a female says she's pregnant, or a guy says that, his girlfriend is pregnant or she's going to have a baby, I feel like parents, family should rally around these people, because although you're thinking of all the things that they could have done or should have done, they're scared. I was 22 years old and I was scared. I was scared to bring a little tiny life into the world. I was scared that I was going to do something wrong. So I just felt like, people should be there for you. You should have support. And when you don't have support, you hold on to that, and that becomes anger, and it just becomes a big ball inside of you that it's just not a good feeling. It's not good. So yeah, how I felt like I was alone. I felt like I was alone because my parents weren't there. My two parents that lived in the house, but my father was there and my older brother was there. And Elijah's dad, he was there, but we weren't together. So that was a different type of being there, and it made me feel away. I definitely felt away. I definitely felt like, what am I going to do in this life by myself, raising a child, and then dang, now I got another one, and this is not the best environment for our children. What am I going to do? So it's very important to have family. It's very important to have love and support. It's very important, but it's also very important to stay strong. Yeah, it's very important. Like, you have to be strong. You have to stay strong. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I felt. I felt like I was all on my own. So the next question is, do I regret it? Do I regret what? Having Anaya and Elijah? Heck no. They are my pride and joy. Sometimes they are the reason that I decided to, take the path that I took, and the reason why I live and I breathe and I have the will to do the things that I do. It is Anaya and Elijah. They are my life. So do I regret it? Heck no. Like, I don't regret it at all. I wish that there were certain situations that I didn't have to go through with them, but it made us tighter and closer. People always say, like, when they listen to the podcast or they see us, they're always like, oh my goodness, like, you guys are so cool, like, y'all so close. Anaya doesn't like the fact that people be trying to holler at me. That doesn't float her boat too well. But it's like, they are my ace boon coons. Elijah does things like stand behind me so that people won't look at my butt. Men don't look at my butt and people don't try to holler at me. Elijah started this thing like when he was like 9, 10. We were in the grocery store and this guy said hello, and before I could say hello, Elijah was like hello. Right? So Elijah is just like, Elijah thinks he's my dad. Anaya thinks she's my mom. Anaya tells me how to do my hair. If my fit is drippy, her and Elijah tell me if my fit is drippy, if sneakers are dope or not, don't wear these sneakers when I'm with them, things like that. So do I regret it? Heck no. I believe that I had my kids at the right time, that the time was right for me, because that's when God, said, listen, you having a kid here and you're having another one here. I did want another one. I just didn't want another one by anybody else, and their father, he didn't want any more kids, and it was cool. I didn't want to bring a kid into a situation that wasn't wanted, so I didn't. I just was like, all right, now I feel like I have baby fever at the age of 39, and I want to do so much, and I don't know where a baby would fit, because Anaya only has 2 more years in the house. Elijah has 4, but I wouldn't want to put my kids through watching a baby anyway. There's a lot of things that I want to do. Within the next 5 years, I really see myself like empty nest, just enjoying life, going on vacations, going on trips and things like that. And it's just not in the cards for us. So yeah, but I did think about adopting, but I thought about it again, because I don't need anybody telling me I'm not their mom. No, I am your mother. I adopted you. I tell Anaya and Elijah they adopted all the time. They don't believe it, but I tell them that anyway. But so to answer that question, no, I don't regret it. Anaya and Elijah are two of my favorite people in the world, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. Everything that I went through, it wasn't fair. It wasn't right. It wasn't what I imagined, but it was what it was. Like, it was what it was. I wasn't running around here just doing any and everything. When I found out that I was having Anaya, because since she's the first, when I found out I was having Anaya, I buckled down. I did what I had to do. No more running in the streets and acting a fool, even though I didn't really do that. But now my temperament went down. There was no more, oh, bad attitude Taisha, because boy, my attitude sucked. There was no more bad. There was no more me just doing things without thinking. There was no more not having a job. So once I left FedEx, I didn't leave FedEx until the city hired me. Once the city hired me at HRA as a job opportunity specialist, which is, for me to work in a welfare office, like, that's when I got with the city, and I just stayed with the city of New York, and that's just where I've been. I'm no longer with HRA. I left HRA almost 8 years ago, but I'm still with the city of New York. I didn't see myself being there, but I'm here. I'm here. I didn't see myself here, but I'm here. But being a parent is a joyous event, and to me it doesn't matter. It matters if you're a teenager, because of course you want to tell your teenager, listen, like, this is not where you belong. This is not something that I saw in your future, and not so much not where you belong, but this is not something that I saw in your future, but we're gonna make the best of it. Somebody said, well, what if Anaya comes to you today or tomorrow and says she's pregnant? I would be happy, because she felt like she could come tell me, and she didn't just go out and get an abortion worried about what I'm gonna think, right? But at the same time, I would be like, well, Anaya, we had these talks and we sat down, and these are the things that, but listen, having a baby is not the end of the world. I'm not going to say that everybody's teaching methods are the same, or they should be the same, because they shouldn't. Some kids are out here and they're trying to have babies, right? We have some teenagers that are trying to have babies, that want to be on MTV 16 and pregnant, that want to be on the front page of the newspaper, that want to be the talk of the town. But then we have some who it just happens and they have to live with it. So I'm not saying that I need you to jump for joy and say hallelujah and just do a praise dance. But what I am saying is, when a female is pregnant, it's so much that she's already going through, so many thoughts that's already in her mind, that someone is needed to tell them, we got you, it's okay, you will not fall, because we will not allow that. For me, I had my brother Tyrone, I had my father, and most importantly, I had Anaya and Elijah's dad. Even when we weren't on the up and up, their father was still there. Their father was still doing. So that I have to give to him. I have to. Leo, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you've done as a father. I couldn't have picked anybody better to be a father for Anaya and Elijah. I really appreciate you for no matter what we went through, like, you did not treat them funny. And it's crazy because he'll tell you guys, like, I never kept our kids away from him. Like, oh, you want your kids? Good, because I need a break. Come get them. Like, when moms are out here and they're keeping their kids away from the father, I mean, yeah, they're hurting the kid, they're hurting the father, but you're also hurting yourself, because you need that time. And every chance I got, which was every single day, whether it was an hour or 2 hours, oh, I was taking those chances. I was taking that time to just live it up and enjoy my time without Anaya and Elijah for a few hours, because I already knew that they wasn't going to ask their father for this, that, and the third. They was waiting until they got home so that they can ask me. Anaya and Elijah would be out and come home and talk about they hungry. Well, why y'all didn't tell your father? Because he was going to say no, or because he said that we was on our way home, so we just waited. All right, whatever. So, you just gotta know as a mom that, like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who is around. You are mom, and your kids are leaning on you for any and everything. It might be a little annoying after a while, but then it's like, all right, okay, all right, I am the mom. Like, you got your dad too, and it's like, yeah, but you're mommy. Like, so it is what it is. But I also want to thank my older brother Tyrone, because without him, at a point in my life, I was so depressed and so stressed, and he made sure he saw me every single day as well. Like, he went to both jobs and still came to my house, and although he would fall asleep, just him being there with me, like, it made such a big difference. Because living on my own, it was refreshing for a little while, but then it was lonely and depressing, So like, my brother would get off of work, he would come, he would play with the kids for a little while, then he would go home. My biological father, may he rest in peace, he was there for me. I thank you, Daddy. Like, my father didn't do right by me and my brother, but he made up, or he started to make up, by taking care of Anaya and Elijah. My father did an awesome job, to the point where Anaya and Elijah are still like, we miss Grandpa. So, I have to give it to them. Of course, my mom came around. Of course, my dad came around. But I already had the feelings that I already had. So it was like I never got over it. Plus, I still feel like, even to this day, like, I was treated funny. Like, I was treated differently. And it was like, for what? So I still had that little bit of animosity. But I'm over it, because I have an eye in Elijah, so it doesn't even matter. Like, where I've gotten in life, it's like, it doesn't even matter what anybody says, because I am where I am, and I can say that I did that. Like, I did that. I came from there, and I came here, and I did that. Like, we did that, so I don't regret anything. I am so happy that I am, Anaya and Elijah's mom. I talk to a lot of their friends, and I'll give them advice, and I give Anaya and Elijah advice. Anaya's first thing when she talks to her friends, if they have a problem, talk to my mom. Call me, and I'll put my mom on the phone, and you can talk to my mom. And I think that is so dope. But what I try to do is I try to not overstep another parent's boundaries. So when a question is asked to me, I throw a question back, so then they can think about it, right? So Anaya got mad at something some girl did. Anaya was supposedly, now Anaya ain't even supposed to have a boyfriend. I'm gonna give y'all a little background. Anaya was supposed to have a boyfriend, and supposedly she had a little boyfriend. So now it's like 50 million girls who was talking to this one boy, and Anaya was mad at all of the girls. But one in particular, Anaya was like so mad at, and I couldn't understand. And I said to her, well, if you say that she likes everybody and she's for everybody, then why are you mad? Like, what made you think that you were exempt? You're not friends, so what made you think you were exempt? I said, that's like being mad at a bus driver for driving a bus. That's like being mad at a cop for arresting people that's doing things that's illegal. That's like being mad at a hoe for being a hoe. Like, you cannot do that. That, you already know, like, that's how she is. So how can you be mad about it? So those are the things that I ask, and I try to get it out of her and Elijah sometimes. But Elijah, he's so cool and so easygoing. Like, Elijah is a fireball, right? So Elijah's really, really quiet. And if you push him to the point, like, Elijah will snap, right? So I try to keep people away from Elijah. Elijah's one of the quietest. He's like a quiet assassin. That's what Elijah is. So I try to keep him calm and quiet. Anaya, she is a fireball, but she's not an assassin. She's just a fireball. If you push her to the brink, yeah, she can be an assassin. I believe that both of my kids got that from me. But that's just, well, the assassin part. The quietness, they got that from their dad. Like, well, Elijah got that from his dad. Anaya is all me. So anyway, I say all that to say that no, I don't regret being a parent. No, I don't regret any decisions that I made. And that if I can do it all over again, I would. I just would move a little differently when it comes to my living situations. Because I think that I was so comfortable with banking on who their father was banking on, knowing that people didn't really, excuse my language, fuck with me, right? They didn't really fuck with me, and I knew that they didn't, but I decided to move in there anyway. And for I think it was 5 years we lived there. For the 5 or 6 years that we lived there, it was not something that I really needed in my life. Like, it wasn't anything that I needed in my life. And you would think that other women would see you having a hard time, and instead of them judging you, they will help you. Not everybody is here to help you. Not everybody is here to do things for you. So you have to do them on your own. And I am proud to say that I did it on my own. I made sure, and I'm going to tell you guys, people look down on Section 8. They look down on Medicaid. They look down on food stamps. Don't look down on those things, because when you need them and they're there, they will help. The only thing I never got was cash assistance. That's the only thing I never got, because I always worked. But I did get food stamps for me and my kids. I sure did. I did get Medicaid for me and my kids. I sure did. And I definitely had Section 8 for a very long time. And I had Section 8 all the way up until I moved. And I could have kept my Section 8. But I felt like I was in a great position to where I could just be like, nah, I don't want that. And I gave it back. And I felt like that's one opening for someone else who needs it. Some people will stay on those programs for forever. And I don't knock them, but I'm not that person. But I thank God that they were here for me. And I wasn't too good to take advantage of any of those. And anybody who sees my face and knows my last name as McClary knows, oh, I was a great worker. All of my clients love me, because if you're already going through something, it takes a lot for you to come down to the welfare office and ask for anything. And I made sure I called. I made sure I stayed on my clients. And I just thank God for all the humbling experiences that I've had in life. I hope and pray that God puts me in more positions to where I can help more people and I can do better. And the number one thing that I've done in my life was, that I am proud of, was recreate two people. Well, sorry, not recreate. Create two people in this world who will make a difference and who have made a difference. Because Anaya and Elijah, whether they know it or not, they've made a difference in my life. And I thank God for them. Now, they get on my nerves. they make me want to like just choke them sometimes, but I thank God for them. I don't regret it. I just wish that I had more help. And I tell people this all the time, I didn't need financial help. People always think that, oh, when people have babies, they need you to help them financially. I didn't need no financial help. I just needed people to be there for me emotionally. I needed my village around me to help me. And I'm sure it's not just me. So I just want everybody to know. And when someone is having a baby, when a female is having a baby, no matter how happy or sad or we feeling like they aren't ready, trust me, in their heart of hearts, they know they're not ready either. And they know that they aren't. Everybody, and I mean everybody, has doubts and negative thoughts. Even women who go and have surrogates, they have their own doubts. Women that are rich and can afford a nanny, some of them have doubts. I'm not going to say all of them, but most of them, we all have doubts about things when it comes to bringing a new life. And so I just want to say that we should rally around them. And if they decide that they want to have a kid, we shouldn't judge them. That's why so many girls running around getting abortions in backyard places and things like that, because they think that people are going to judge them and they're going to get in trouble, which, I mean, they may get judged. They will get judged, right? They will get judged, because you get judged no matter what you do. You will get judged, and you know, that's just something that you have to overcome. But I just want to create a place and say that we all need guidance, no matter how old we are. My mother was 40 when she had my little brother, and it still ain't easy for her. It still wasn't easy for her at the age of 40, you know. So I just want everybody to know that we can all make a difference in somebody's life. And we should all make a difference in somebody's life. If somebody tells you that they're pregnant and they're having a baby, the first reaction should not be to snap. The first reaction should not be to put them down. The first reaction should be to say to them, well, how do you feel about that? And move on from there. I know a girl who had like 5 abortions because she was too worried about what her family would think about her. Oh, I gotta go to school. Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, I gotta do that. And it didn't even matter. They was talking about her going to school, not going to school. Somebody told her she would never be anybody. It was a lot. And when she finally decided to have her kid, that was because she had a cousin that was having a kid at the same time that was much younger than her. And she told her cousin, go have a baby. Go have your baby so that she could have her baby. And she felt like they would talk about the cousin more. They talked about both of them a lot. And the difference between her and the cousin is the cousin had someone who was there, her mom, who was there to support her, to tell her, listen, I got you. No matter what, I got you. It doesn't matter that you're having a kid. Am I especially happy for it? Maybe not. But guess what? There's nothing we could do. So I just say all of that to say that be happy when people, when people love, I don't want to say be happy, but be supportive when a female comes to you and tells you that she's pregnant. There's 50 million things going through her mind. She's already scared. She's already, so just, be mindful. It's crazy because all the people who worried about me having a kid at the age of 23 had their first at 19. That includes my mom, not trying to put her down, but sheesh, like I got far in life, you know what I'm saying? Like I at least got my bachelor's degree. You know, all I can do is push Anaya and Elijah to get their masters and all of that. But should they not get their masters, I mean, that's not going to make them smarter. If they get their masters, it's not going to make them smarter in being a parent, because parenthood is not something that you learn. Parenthood is something that you experience, and you learn from experience. So parenthood to me is like an externship, right? So it's on the job learning. That's what parenthood is, on the job learning. And that, I mean, you know, that's really all of my rant. I thank you guys for lending me your ears. Hopefully next week these little kids will be back. If not, you'll get another rant from Mama Ty. But like I said, if you guys have any questions, email familytiespodcast@gmail. Like, comment, subscribe, and add us on Instagram. I was about to say YouTube, Facebook. Add us on Instagram. Family Ties Podcast on Instagram. And I've been waiting for Anaya to put up our YouTube. So until she does, I guess you guys will still be listening to us on our platform, on whatever platform you're listening to us on. But thank you guys for your time. Thank you guys for your ears. Thank you guys for letting me rant. And to anybody out there who's going to have a baby, who needs somebody to talk to, and it might not be your family, y'all can always talk to me. I'm here. Anaya and Elijah will tell you in a heartbeat. There's things that they tell me that I'm happy that they tell me, but I'm like, my kid, like, this is what my kid is telling me. So, you know, I am here. I'm not going to give outright advice, because that's not what I do. But I'll ask you questions so that you can, you know, think on a different level of where you weren't thinking. That's all. That's it. That's all. Thank you guys. Tell everybody to tell everybody. Normally Elijah says tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell all friends to tell all friends. Thank you guys for tuning in to Family Ties. See y'all next week. Bye.